Rishi Sunak tells the COVID inquiry he was not told to save WhatsApp messages. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that Rishi Sunak tells the COVID inquiry that he was not told to save the WhatsApp messages. The PM began with an apology to people affected by COVID and says he did not see dysfunction in number 10 during the crisis. No, he did not see anything, guys. The phrase that he used pretty much throughout the whole goddamn inquiry was, I don't recall, or I can't recall, or no straightforward yes or no answers. He's pretty much like Boris Johnson and dithering, dodging the questions. I feel that he's throughout that inquiry, and I will talk more about this on the Snowflake Viewpoint. It just felt like to me the guy did not want to really give the hard evidence, shall we say, in it. And with regards specifically, we're going to specifically obviously talking about the WhatsApp messages here. I'm going to bring up one or two other caveats. We're also going to watch a little clip of it as well, a bit later as well. But I'll just give my brief summary of Rishi Sunak on the COVID inquiry. And I just thought him, like Boris Johnson, just not giving straightforward answers, dodging questions, dithering, sliding round, and despite the fact that evidence was kind of thrown at him, there were times where Hugo Keith, the man at the helm, really laid some really good traps on Sunak, and he had to back out of certain things that he may have said as well, which is pretty embarrassing to say the least. There'll obviously be, as time passes, more and more will come out. But Boris Johnson, known as Mr. Hindsight, I would call Mr. Rishi Sunak Mr. I don't recall. I think is the phrase to refer to here. But yeah, he was told not to save the WhatsApp messages. Well, there's a couple of caveat problems to that, and we'll get into them. But let's read this, guys. So Rishi Sunak said he was not advised that he should save WhatsApp messages from his phone, even after the COVID inquiry was set up, and he had no messages remaining from his pandemic period. In giving evidence to the inquiry, the Prime Minister said he had changed his phone many times in recent years and never backed up his messages, a relatively straightforward process that many users do routinely. The Guardian first reported in October that Sunak planned to tell the inquiry that he was unable to hand over messages from the COVID period when he was Chancellor, as he failed to save them. It is very easy to save messages on your phone, and again, we'll get to that shortly. Elsewhere in his testimony, Sunak told the inquiry he could not recall details about the meeting in which the first lockdown was decided, or how much scrutiny he was given to concerns the NHS could be overwhelmed. Asked by Hugo Keith, the main inquiry counsel, about the missing messages, Sunak said, I changed my phone multiple times over the past few years, and as that's happened, the messages have not come across. As you said, I'm not a prolific user of WhatsApp in the first instance, primarily communications with my private office, and obviously anything of that significance. Video conversations or exchanges have been recorded officially by my civil servants, as one would expect. Asked if he had been advised but he should try to have saved the messages, especially after Boris Johnson's formally established the COVID inquiry in May 2021, Sunak said, I don't recall anyone in my office making that recommendation or observation to me at that time. I detect a bit of lie there. That sounds like a very, very big lie there. Last week, Johnson confirmed to the inquiry that he'd been unable to retrieve his own WhatsApp message for a crucial period at the start of the crisis, saying that he appeared to be because his phone had been reset. In other evidence on Monday, Sunak said he could not remember how ministers debated whether to put in the first lockdown in March 2020, or how much debate focused on the prediction that the NHS would be overwhelmed without one. I don't remember those precise conversations, he said, prompting Keith to observe, Was this course one of the most momentous decisions in the history? Well, of course, this was, of course, one of the most momentous decisions in the history of the nation. He did not come prepared at all, this Prime Minister. He was more concerned. He had other things on his mind, guys. Pressed by Keith about his memories of the decision on the 23rd of March 2020 to impose a lockdown and the cabinet meeting the next day, Sunak replied, I can't precisely recall the particular meeting. Sunak also said he had not seen the apparent dysfunction on Johnson's Downing Street recounted by others, saying matters felt fine to me. Sunak denied using his using private conversations with Johnson to push the Treasury out of view outside formal structures, while saying that the practical reality of being neighbours and sharing the garden meant he would often chat informally. He said it's clearly impractical to think that every single conversation between two cabinet ministers can be recorded in that way. I think everyone would accept that. Sunak began his testimony by making a general apology to people affected by COVID. He's saying, how deeply sorry I am to all those who lost loved ones, family members through the pandemic, and all those who suffered through various different ways through the pandemic as a result of the actions that were taken. They're sorry as a cohesion, not sorry for individual actions. And that's a very key point there. Sunak never apologised for his actions or his comments. That's a very key point. He added, I've thought a lot about over the past couple of years. It's important that we learn the lessons so that we can better prepare in the future. It is in the spirit of enormous respect and all those who are affected that I am here today. So WhatsApp messages, guys. Just give me 1 sec. So WhatsApp messages. What happened to the WhatsApp messages, guys? Well, the thing is, there's a couple of caveats about WhatsApp messages, and the thing is that you can't lose them. They can always be recovered. And I decided to ask little Google about this, guys. So, can WhatsApp messages be traced after deleted? So, let's find out. So, WhatsApp messages can be traced after they're deleted because WhatsApp stores their source codes and destination codes for a period of time. So, it says a period of time. On your device itself, deleted messages may be recovered using certain tools if data is not has not overwritten it, or if it's saved in a backup. So, it is entirely possible. Another one there. Can the police delete it, trace the WhatsApp? Do not refrain data law, valid presentation there on that. But I think the other one was there. Can anyone retrieve my deleted WhatsApp messages? Can I recover a permanent document messages? No. The only way to recover your deleted WhatsApp messages is if you back them up. In case you've forgotten to enable chat backup option, the chats will be lost forever. So the only conclusion that I can come with this, guys, is that chat backup was probably disabled in order to hide those messages. It's potentially the possibility there. So something has gone amiss for sure here. What has gone amiss, I'm not 100% sure, but something is definitely amiss here, guys. And it's a pretty worrying, to say the least here. So I'm just going to show you this 1 minute 47 clip of the actual exchange of the video between Hugo Keith and Rishi Sunak. Implausible blog there on Twitter. Shout out to him. I'll put a link to his Twitter handle and his Instagram. Check him out. He's done so many clips of the COVID inquiry, and he will continue to do so. If you do have Twitter or Instagram, give him a follow, guys. So we're just going to listen to this.
You don't now have access to any of the WhatsApps that you did send during the time of the crisis, do you?
No, I don't. I've changed my phone multiple times over the past few years, and as that has happened, the messages have not come across. As you said, I'm not a prolific user of WhatsApp in the first instance, primarily communication with my private office, and obviously anything that was of significance through those conversations or exchanges would have been recorded officially by my civil servants, as one would expect.
Evidence has been given to the inquiry to the effect that Mr. Johnson announced the institution of this inquiry in May 2021. And around that time, officials discussed the need for ministers and others to retain WhatsApps. It was a matter of debate, in fact, in WhatsApp communications between officials themselves. Around that time, April and May 2021, did nobody say to you, Chancellor, it's important that you do retain your WhatsApps, or we need to put into place measures for them to be backed up in case they become relevant to an inquiry?
No, I don't recall either of those conversations that you referred to between officials, but you might have been referring to officials in number 10 rather
yes.
than the Treasury. No, yes, and I don't recall anyone in my office.
Do you believe him? Do you honestly believe him? I just don't believe this man. I really don't.
Making that recommendation or observation to me at the time.
Do you happen to recall, it's probably quite a long shot, but do you recall changing phones around that time as it happened?
Not around that time, as I said. I have changed my phone multiple times in the years since then, and as I said previously, every time that's happened, the messages wouldn't have come across. But as I said, I'm not a prolific user of WhatsApp, and with the private office, again, that would have all been recorded formally on the record, or indeed where I've had exchanges with other individuals. Some of those have been part of the evidence that's formed the inquiry's deliberations.
They have indeed, and I should make plain that we've got some of your messages from the other interlocutors to the communications.
And just wanted to add there, guys, I put this message here and it seems to have gotten quite a bit of attention. It's funny that I never seem to lose my messages, but most important message from the PM and Boris have gone missing. It's almost as if they were hidden from the inquiry or deleted. What do you guys honestly think? I'm trying not to sneeze now because we've had quite an... I don't like sneezing during the video, guys. I'm trying not to sneeze. I do apologise. Sorry about that. What do you guys honestly think? Like, so Rishi Sunak, the former Chancellor, now the Prime Minister, or could be ex-Prime Minister by the time you see this, and then we had Boris Johnson, former Mayor of London, former Prime Minister, the guy who was in charge during the whole COVID crisis, and they seem to have misplaced their WhatsApp messages at the most specific and most important time of one of the country's histories during the COVID crisis. You can't tell me that there's not something wrong here. Like, the lies could not be more blatant. It could not be more obvious here. This stinks of cover-up. What do you guys honestly think? Because we're going to be talking about, this will not be the last time I talk about Rishi Sunak. What do you guys honestly think? What do you think happened to those WhatsApp messages? Do you actually think that they were deleted forever? Is it possible that they could still be recovered? Is it possible that they are still somewhere there and they're choosing not to show them? What do you think those messages contained that could be a significant threat? Do you think that potentially that the WhatsApp messages that both Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak had maybe have ties to certain national countries, some of perhaps of India, a Russian origin perhaps, or perhaps messages that could be criminally indicting on both of them? What do you guys honestly think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, which I would greatly appreciate, you can do so by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.